One of the most common issues that most shooters struggle with is a thumb flick. So in today's video, we're going to go over what a thumb flick actually is and give you guys a few drills to help you take it away. Let's dive into it. So what a thumb flick actually is when we get to our set point and we go to shoot, our thumb goes with the basketball and it pushes the basketball as we go to flick our wrist. So that can look like our guide hand is straight and just our thumb moves, but also it can look like where our whole hand goes with the basketball as well. So essentially, you guys are trying to shoot the ball with two hands. Where our thumb flick can cause an issue with our shot is mainly in two ways, right? So let's say we get set up. When we go to shoot, if we flick the basketball with our thumb, now that can put a weird spin on the basketball. So instead of the ball spinning with the correct backspin where it hits the rim and just drops straight down, now the ball is going to spin at a weird way. So it's going to hit the rim and then bounce and curve off. The second way this affects your jump shot is when we get at our set point, we go to shoot. When we push it with our second hand, now that throws that shot off course. So now the ball is going to go to the left or to the right, and now it's going to affect that end goal of us trying to make that shot because now we can't shoot the ball straight. So a common way to kind of fix this issue, most people just try to get a tool where it forces your guide hand to stay straight. Once you get your set point, you try to shoot it with that tool, right? There's nothing wrong with the tool itself, but the issue really lies with our intent and our focus, right? A lot of us just use the tool and just rely heavily on the tool, but what happens is when we take that thing away, we just go right back to our old jump shot. So our hands get in a bad spot, we go to shoot, so we end up still shooting with two hands, and that's causing us to still miss. Instead of giving you guys a tool to use, we're gonna give you guys a few drills that you guys can use as a progression to help take away that thumb flick. So with this first drill, we're going to go with mirror shots. So we're gonna get nice and low. This is gonna be a one-handed shot where our guide hand just mirrors the basketball. So we're gonna get nice and low. You guys can do this right in front of the rim. You guys can shoot to yourself if you don't have a hoop, right? So we're gonna get nice and low, take your guide hand, put it close to the basketball, but don't have it actually touch the ball. So we're gonna get nice and low. Now to get to your set point, you're gonna have to twist the ball up. You want your guide hand to move with the basketball as you move it up. So it's here, the guide hand moves with the basketball, and then you actually go and shoot. So the reason why we want to do this drill is because it allows our guide hand to still move with the basketball. When we go to shoot with both hands on the ball, our guide hand moves with us. When we go to release it, some players actually have their guide hand go with that shot. So you want to still have that movement with our shot so we can still work on that, but we want to have that ball in one hand. And the reason why is because it teaches us to have the shooting hand in the correct spot. So when we get to our set point, we have to have the basketball with our wrist underneath the basketball. If we have that second hand on the ball, sometimes we can have poor hand placement, which if we move the ball, now that ball can drop. But if we take that guide hand away, now we have the ball sit right in our shooting hand the way we want it to be, and then we can work on pushing through the middle so we can shoot the ball straight. Now, I know you guys are struggling with your guide hand, but if you're looking for a little bit more help with your overall form, I want you guys to go down to the description box below, grab that free shooting checklist. It'll give you guys a free workout to help you dial in that perfect form. Now, for our second progression, what we want to do is start off the same way, hand underneath the basketball, get nice and low. Our guide hand is on the side, not touching the basketball just yet. So we get to our set point, push the ball up. Once we get here, now we want to have our guide hand slightly touch the basketball, and then we go into our shot. So once again, you guys can shoot to yourself, you guys can shoot at the hoop, whatever you guys want to do. But the main thing we want to focus on is once we get to our set point, having that guide hand actually connect to the basketball and then going through with our shot. So what you guys are gonna notice for some of you is when we get to our set point and we actually add that second hand, a lot of you are gonna wanna fall back into your old habits of shooting the basketball with two hands or having that thumb flick because muscle memory is just gonna kick in. So a good thing, what I want you guys to think about is barely touching the basketball kind of as light as a feather. So once I get here and I touch the ball with my guide hand, I don't want to over grip it or really squeeze it, just slightly touch it. And now I'm still kind of shooting like a one-handed jump shot. The reason why that soft touch is super important is because once we're down low, like I said earlier, sometimes we can over grip the basketball. So when I'm here and I can hold the basketball however I want, I can hold it in a wrong way, but that forces me to hold it too strong. So once I get here, I have to over grip the basketball because like I said, don't want to drop. So when we get here, soft touch, so now I can still shoot the basketball with one hand without forcing myself to use my second one. For our third progression, we're gonna start off the same way, nice and low, hand underneath the basketball, but this time we're adding our guide hand down below. So it's the same thing as our progression before. It's a soft touch. Once we can get to our set point, we're still twisting the ball to get there. So that's why we want to have that soft touch, because if we over grip it down low, that ball is not going to turn. So we're not going to be able to get the ball in the correct spot up here, right? So let that ball spin, get here, and now we can go through our shot. So that soft touch is still important even in this part of our progression, because we don't want to over grip. You guys will notice if you get here and you use your thumb still, you're adding too much pressure with that guide hand. So that your guide hand should just be sitting on the basketball, light as a feather. So now once you get here, you're still shooting a one-handed jump shot. Now, for our final progression, we're gonna start in that same position, getting nice and low, hand underneath the basketball, or shooting hand underneath the basketball, guide hand slightly touching the ball down below. What we're gonna do now is turn the ball early and then flow through the rest of our jump shot. So we still wanna have that soft touch so that ball can turn. From here, we wanna be holding it with that light touch, but not too soft to where that ball drops. We still wanna be able to hold it, but from here, we flow through our shot. So once we get to our set point, remember, soft touch to where we're not using that thumb, it's barely here. Once we go to shoot, that hand is just along for the ride, letting that ball balance as we move through our shot. So when it comes to all these drills, I want you guys to use them as a progression. So start with the first one and then move all the way through the last one. Now, when it comes to the reps for each of these drills, I can't tell you exactly how many reps because it all depends on you guys, right? So I can't tell you do 10 reps and then just move on to the next one, because you might need to spend a little bit more time in a certain area. So if the first one is too easy for you, do a few reps, get used to it, and then move right on. And then you guys might realize that second one might be where you need to stay at. So just get as many reps in as you guys need to feel comfortable and confident to move on to the next progression. Remember, the guide hand is all about pressure, and that pressure is created from how we hold the basketball, right? So we want to make sure our wrist is underneath the middle of the basketball, guide hand is on the side somewhere, so we don't want to be too high on top, we don't want to be in front, we don't want to be too low, we want to be right in that correct spot to where our wrist is underneath the middle, and we can still shoot with one hand. One of the most annoying things that can probably happen is you guys go out, work on your jump shot, figure out you're struggling in a certain area, but then struggle through that for far too long, but not realize we've dropped a video that helps you with that specific thing. So what I think you guys need to do, hit that subscribe button, make sure your notifications are all turned on so you guys are notified every time we drop a video.